3, 5. Okay, hi everybody. We've already jumped in a little bit. Welcome to Making Noise. This is our first on location.
We are on location.
But Jay Connor, obviously, is with me. What's up, Jay? How are you doing?
What's up, y'all? What's up, Todd? How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a super long week, and this is very, very exciting.
I'm excited.
We're here at Bicycles of Shelby with the one, the only Scott Moss. How are you doing, man?
Great.
And
we're at the Re-Cycle bar.
We're at the Re-Cycle bar.
Canteen.
Re-Cycle Canteen.
The Re-Cycle Canteen.
Re-Cycle Canteen.
There's this fantastic exclusive large inventory bicycle shop right here, but me and Jay thought it would be best if we just did it here at the bar.
Yeah, this is much more fun.
It is. It's a lot more fun.
So if you're looking for a tube, for a tire, or maybe a shot of whiskey, come on down to Bicycles of Shelby.
Hey man, thanks. Thank you for the whiskey. Cheers.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Yep, I'll do that.
Dude, thank you for having us here, because we were talking about this for a while. Jay obviously plays with too many singers in town.
Sometimes, yeah.
But
just horning it up out there.
Like the worst singers to work with.
I know, man. I should find some better acts.
It is.
I really should.
It's like I can think of 2 right off the top of my head. 3 if we think of everyone we've had on the show that are just horrible singers that he plays with. But no, it's a lot of fun to be here for me and just us hanging out and getting all this stuff set up. And we really appreciate you. Let us do our first remote podcast here at your spot, because this is such a fun place, super cool.
We are on location.
Yeah.
Proud to be part of it, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, dude. So, I've known of you for years, and we've hung out a little bit today setting up, and we actually had the sun where we couldn't go through the window, so we kind of had to wait a little bit, and then we just hung out and played guitars for a little bit, which was awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I didn't even know that you did any of this.
I didn't either.
Until Jay was like, "No, it's Scott Moss."
I mean, so honestly, when I came, I was on the road for such a long time playing music, and I kind of dialed that back a bit. And I was in Shelby one day, and I was stopped in the local bike shop, and there was a sign on the door that said "mechanic needed." And ironically, my first job ever when I was 14 years old was at another bike shop here in Shelby, and I was a bike mechanic, and I put together bikes and worked on bikes, and so I had a little bit of experience then, and I was out of it for years. And it just so happened when I was off the road, I was looking for something kind of part-time, and Howard, who is now my business partner, was the owner at the time, and we hit it off. And I said, "Hey man, I can come in and be a mechanic for you," and that's where it got started. And I knew nothing about bike mechanicking in the modern days, so I had to do a lot of research and learning. But fell in with Howard, and a couple years later, we became business partners and bought this building and opened this bar, and that's how we got here.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Well, and it's so interesting with sometimes we're doing something with music or doing, and really living on life, because you have, man. I mean, you're I mean, I've known about you for years.
Right on.
I really have. And a little bit of a selling point for me, for Jay, was the fact that he was in your band.
Right.
I was like, oh wow, this guy's playing Scott Moss. This guy knows what he's doing, And
that's
so
totally just because we know each other. I mean, if I knew
wouldn't hire him
if I
anymore
knew
either.
other horn players, no.
I'm sure he probably would get somebody else. I mean, damn.
Yeah, don't tell
No,
Jay
I'm
I've already hired some other guys. But I think sometimes with musicians or stuff, it's hard to have hobbies.
Yeah,
because you're on the road, you're on the and like that, like taking a time to in the middle of something, getting part time, doing something like that.
Well, it's hard to find income. I mean, it's hard to find something that works with your schedule.
You're always kind of hustling.
Yeah, exactly. Karen and I talk about. My wife and I talk about that all the time. It's all about hustling.
And they're off camera drinking and having a fantastic time.
Just a couple bottles of prosecco that might have been consumed.
If we had more cameras,
how long is this going to last? Because my window's closed. If
we had more microphones and cameras, we would absolutely have them on. We're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to do we'll have to do that for sure. But,
absolutely.
So how long was that you did the as far as the bicycle stuff? Because I really want to hop in and talk to you about a lot of songwriting stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know about that. Bicycles, I have no idea. But what you've built is fantastic. But I'm just curious how long you were the bike mechanic.
So I did that that was my hobby for, all my middle school and early high school years until I got my license and started chasing girls around town, but
cool. So yeah, okay.
I've always been into that to an extent. I did some racing when I was, in my early teen, like middle teens, and I was never in super good shape enough to do that, but I thought I was, right?
Right.
So it's always interested me, and actually, the last 3 years that I've been involved, well, almost 4 years now that I've been involved with the shop, I've gotten way more into it, and ride all the time, and met some really cool people. And honestly, when my partner opened up the shop here in town, I thought to myself, how can you sustain that business here?
Right.
There's no way a bike shop's going to work. Until I got involved and realized it's group rides, and it's the community getting involved with it that's really, that's what sustains our business. And we have group rides here 3 days a week. We have 60 people on that list of people to come ride.
Wow,
that's pretty awesome.
Shelby's doing the rail trail thing, which is what I was waiting on till that became a reality before I bought into this business. And then this was always a vision that we had, even with the garage doors that you can't see here, just being able to roll those up on a Saturday when people are cruising the rail trail. So
yeah. And you guys are right here on it. I mean, you guys are right in the
one
heart
block away.
here.
Yeah, it's awesome because once that rail trail gets built and connects, it's actually going to connect Shelby all the way over to the Forest City, right?
Eventually, that's the plan.
Wow.
I mean, actually, there's plans to,
and it is beautiful through here.
Yeah. I mean, there's plans to connect. You can go across country on that. I mean, there's already thousands of miles of rail trail already, that are working now. And in fact, years ago, Karen and I went to a fundraiser at Newgrass that was for the Rail Trail Conservancy, and Travis Book, the bass player for the String Dusters, was the advocate, and he played guitar and sang and talked about that and everything. And that's been 4 or 5 years ago, and so that's how long that's been in the works. But
I gotta say, this is what I really love. That's a great story, and I really enjoy that. As far as especially, but the fact that you just double checked with your wife,
right? Oh, I do that all the time. Oh,
we
yeah,
we need to do more remotes like this because this is great. How long have y'all been together?
Oh, 200 years or something.
200,
yeah.
200,
Maybe
I mean, it's only been
years.
10, but it feels like 200.
Oh, the better part of 2 decades now. We've we've been. Yeah, we'll be 15 years married, and yeah.
That's great. Congratulations, by the way.
I'm a professional.
I love that she's like, that's a long time. That's a long time. No.
Well, it's funny that we had, her and I both did, a lot of moving around and, shaking when we were younger. And it was funny that just recently we sit down and we talk about how we've been living in our house longer than we've lived anywhere, even when we were children.
Right.
Growing up in our parents' home, it's crazy to think we've been in this house for longer than anywhere, which is
that's usually a good sign when you go oh wait, we have been, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. Congratulations on another 15, 30, 85.
At least I'm sure we hit at least a couple more. We'll be fine.
Well, I mean, this is what's so cool about a place like this is because when you say, you with your business partner and getting into this and looking at this in a way of how can it sustain, and then you find what goes on. I think that there's something that really comes from any sort of musical background that really enforces anywhere else you go in life.
So I'll take that a step further and say that it's about the vibe. I've had friends that opened up, and that you guys know this from playing. It's
the vibe.
If you go to a place, it doesn't. You can overlook certain aspects of a venue, but if it feels good and if the vibe is there, then it sustains. It perpetuates. And so, I mean, unfortunately, we've been lucky in all our business ventures that we have that that vibe, and I think that's what's you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
as far as-
Well, it's also
Yeah.
funny that you even bring that up because a lot of times when we're talking to people, we talk to musicians that aren't necessarily the lead; they're the side man, right?
Yeah.
And they talk about, well, man, the best thing about getting booked and getting booked again is you got to have a good vibe.
yeah.
You got
Yeah.
to be a good hang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny because all that sort of just comes full circle and plays into everything.
Well, and like
does.
like the musicians that I play with, I always think to myself, like, am I cool with them speaking for me when I'm not in the room?
Right.
Which is really weird because Jay's the only
Right.
person
Wow.
that I don't think that he can't talk for me.
I wouldn't let me talk either.
I
man.
wouldn't let. Oh no! I don't know why. I mean,
Todd keeps me away from microphones at gigs.
I do. I
Because
said,
I'm the first guy to be like, hey, man, shut the fuck up. No one cares about what you're saying right now.
this is true.
I have a microphone. You don't. Shut the fuck up.
I will say I did set a microphone up for Jay once, and I kind of want to do it again, but we need to have.
I have
talk
people ask me a lot,
first.
like, why don't you have more like harmony, singing in your band? Because I don't want any of these motherfuckers to have microphones in between songs.
Hey, I heard a great quote from a local. I'm not gonna say his name, but I heard a great quote from somebody who's like, "Why don't you guys do more harmonies?" It was like, "I want any of these motherfuckers to show me up. It's my name on the band, motherfucker. I want them to show me up."
You see the sign, right?
Yeah. Man, let me ask you this: this is so good. I get to talk to someone in the same boat as me. How many times have you had to pull the whose name's on the banner, motherfucker?
Oh no,
Like that's a hard reserve. You hold that reserve. You never try to do that personally. Like I would die if I felt like someone else ever heard me say that. But have you ever had to have that moment where
no.
you're like,
I've never played that card, and here's why. Because I've always been really lucky to get like. I'm, a horrible musician. I have no idea what I'm doing. But I've met some guys that are really, really good and somehow think that I know what I'm doing. So I'm not trying to risk that in any way.
Right. Well, that's good. That's a really good way of looking at it, man.
Yeah.
And
in fact, and honestly, I've always felt really weird about putting my name, like with Jay and I, Scott Moss in the $100 handshakes, and I was I hate that in one hand, but in the other hand, the reason for that is like and you understand this and other people understand this, but it's just when you work your entire life at that, and I've spent almost 20 years in this business, and like nobody knows because rotating band members and things like that. You're trying to just attach some recognition to it. So that's
right.
And when in truth, I don't have any business putting my name on something like that.
No, I think you do. I think you do have
just-
business putting your name on stuff like that. I mean, like I'll tell you something that I haven't actually told you before. We came up here and did kind of like a site visit thing, about a week or two ago.
Right.
And just to kind of figure out as far as setting this stuff up. And I did a little Instagram story or whatever. And I had 3 musicians message me going, I didn't say your name. I just posted this was the venue.
Right.
And I was like, sweet spot here in Shelby. And I had 3 musicians. I remember Jason Atkins said the best thing.
Oh, man,
Jason
I love
Atkins
Jason
said the
Atkins.
best thing.
What did he say?
He said, he was like, dude, the guy behind the bar there in your picture is Scott Moss. He's one of those badass songwriters in town.
That's awesome,
Like, you
man.
need to meet that guy. And then I texted him back. I was like, yeah, we're going to do an interview. He was
Well,
like,
I've got some good news for you, Jason.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason played keys on our record.
Yeah, he sure did.
Well, I mean, I want to hear a record where Jason didn't play keys.
Oh, well, that's true.
Because that guy plays keys on everything.
Yeah. He's
Everything.
He's so
it's-
nice and he's so good at it.
He's so good at it. He's so good at it. He's
And I
he's a
actually
great
went
guy.
to I have a, my,
I,
our bass,
I love him. I was just
I do
joking,
too,
Jason.
Yeah, he's like,
I was joking.
So our bass player is a huge hockey fan, and he's taken Karen and I to see the Checkers and the Hurricanes. And the last time we went to a Checkers game, we got to go. We were hanging with Jason.
go hang out with the Greasy Keys,
Go
man.
see Greasy
He's
Keys,
famous,
man.
He's a rock star.
Right.
Actually, it probably should be Jason Atkins and the $100 handshake.
We probably sell more records.
Let's change our name to.
Yeah.
Well, see, as weird as you'd feel about that with Scott Moss, now Jason
I
would
could get
probably feel
behind
just as
that,
weird.
right?
Yeah. But Jason to me is one of those guys who's like a legitimate put a poster up on the wall rock star because he does fantastic. He does great on his
Yeah, he's a
instrument.
pro.
But he's also he's got a good home life.
Yeah.
And it's weird how you get older, you realize how wonderful it is to have musicians who go, I'm going to take care of this.
Right.
I'm going to take care of my space as well as my fans. Where I think a lot of younger cats will focus just on the fans. And not on the craft. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or they might write songs for the fans, which usually aren't as good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean I've always been the musicians that I respect and the people that I'm into, like they're just the one thing that the common denominators are, they're all just really genuine. They're not trying to play.
Like how old were you when you started playing? And
Oh man, I was 21 before I started playing guitar.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Who were like some of the people that you like looked up to when you were a kid that kind of really got you into it?
Yeah, and like in my home when I was a kid, it was luckily my folks are into like singer songwriter, like acoustic rocks. Like, it was Bob Dylan and Arlo Guthrie and stuff like that in my younger years. And then, of course, Bruce Springsteen was a bit like my first concert ever was Bruce Springsteen. My dad took me.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you see him? What year? What time? What date?
Man. So I was 11.
Sorry.
I was 11 years old. It was 1991. It was the Human Touch Lucky Town
Yeah.
tour.
Okay.
And he was
So
at the
everyone was in the black.
he
everyone
was in the
in
Charlotte
tuxes,
Coliseum,
right.
and we sat on the 4th row, and he did the whole he played for 3 hours. I remember that was the first time in my young life that I was starstruck. Like I was looking at a
Right.
guy that I was like, that's fucking Bruce Springsteen right there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that was
there's something inhuman. Even though that person
he's
is
not even
human,
a real person, right? Yeah.
there's something inhuman, godlike about
which
a
I
person
think,
like that.
which I honestly
in that
think that
moment.
like nowadays with like the social media and like this like the stuff just being so accessible, I think that's kind of lost now. Like it's not like it was back. Like
It takes away the mystery.
Yeah, I mean, because you didn't see those people just all the time.
It's weird. It's like you almost need to be very, very human, extremely human, and let everybody into your life
right.
until you get to a point where you're on that level, and then you almost need to cut everybody out.
Well, and like
You know what I mean?
in those days, it was you couldn't just like pull up your phone and watch YouTube. It was like you had to sit around and wait on the video to come on MTV or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't
you had to
quite.
wait.
Everybody
you had to
wasn't
wait
quite as
hours in
accessible.
line
Yeah.
to
is what
see
I'm saying.
Springsteen.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was an event. It
Oh
wasn't.
man, yeah. And it was so that was my, my first.
So mention of that. When was like your first, like when you started playing out? Like, did you like was it one of those things of like, I'm a singer, I need to learn how to play, but or were you more of a guitar player? Because you're Thompson, right? You were like a guitar
I'm still
player.
a terrible guitar player to this day. It was more singing. Yeah, it was always just
singing first?
yeah.
Okay.
And the funny part about that was like I thought I was a good singer back then, and then it was until I started playing with Oak Grove and like Tommy and Brian that I realized I don't even know shit about singing. Like
So wait,
they taught me.
Oak Grove, what is this? Sorry, I know you guys. I'm the new guy here.
So Oak Grove is a bluegrass, and I say bluegrass just because of the instrumentation. Here locally, a bunch of just really badass players.
Okay.
That phenomenal, world class players that Jay plays with a few of them in different things, and also in the handshakes, a couple of the guys are in that. But we started. It's some of the best music I've ever made. And we started practicing for stuff, and Brian Edmondson, I should mention him, is one of the best musicians if not the best musician I know. And we'd stand around, he'd teach us how to sing harmony, and he could just pick out harmony parts, and it just amazed me. I was just like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
It's crazy to have it. How old were you when you met him and started working with him?
Oh man, that was in my 30s. I mean, yeah, I was.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I was. Oh yeah, I'm talking less than 10 years ago.
See, this is what's interesting in a way with talking to you is because there are so many people that I've talked to and I work with, and then it's funny how music doesn't really, there's no formula.
Right.
Like I didn't know that you were older than a teenager. No,
Don't touch me. I
Very
didn't say that.
svelte.
Hey, you look good. You
Such a baby
look
face.
good. I thought you were younger than me, man.
No. So let me frame that up by telling you that I was a jock. Like I was a jock in high school and played college football, and I thought that was what I was going to do.
What'd you play?
I played offensive line. I was a left tackle.
Left tackle. Okay.
Yeah.
You're built for it.
Well,
but
I played I hate to keep backing up here. My dad my dad was a tennis pro, so I played tennis all growing up. So I had fast feet. That's why I played left tackle, because I was a pass blocker. I couldn't push it over. I wasn't strong enough to do that, but you just couldn't get around me.
Right,
So that
right,
was,
right.
That was the reason
You would
for that.
you would lock them up just long enough.
That's
for
like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
single most important thing for a left
Right.
tackle, though.
Right.
Is
That's
that,
what you
is
do,
that,
right.
that defensive end
That's why
don't
they
get
don't
around
run that
him.
way very often.
Exactly.
you lock them up
Exactly.
just enough. Just enough.
So I did that, for a couple years in college, and realized, I just absolutely had such a great experience in my high school. My high school won 2 state championships while I was there.
Where'd you go to high
I went
school?
to Crest High School in Shelby.
Okay.
We were ranked 7th in the nation at one point when I was there. So we just had
Nice.
this great, experience. It's one of the, some of the most, looking back on it, some of the best times of my life. So I just wasn't ready to stop, and I went to Appalachian and tried to play and hated every second of it. So when I quit that, I was looking for,
Some sort of
something else to do.
team camaraderie, probably.
Yeah. My dad played guitar, and he had tried to teach me a few things, previously. So as soon as I could make my hands go G, C, and D, I was playing in bars.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I'm serious, like.
2 weeks later, he had like 10 gigs.
No, I believe it. Well, that
From
was
3
kind of what I was
chords.
saying. That's what I was kind of saying about being older. And what I mean older is like sometimes cats are like, oh, I started when I was 15, I started when I was 16.
Well, there's
you know?
muscle memory involved in that. Like, there's
Yeah.
a talent, and then there's that starting early and, the muscle memory thing. It's just,
Right. But like you can still. It goes to show that there's no right formula of being.
It goes to show that you
being
can
a good
still be horrible at guitar at 40.
Right.
Just as much as you were at 21.
Jesus. That's probably exactly what. Yeah. No, I took personal offense to that because I'm like, yeah, that's exactly where I'm going to be. That's exactly where I am right now.
No,
No,
you're
I
gonna
look
be
back
fine.
when I was 15. I have the exact same chops that I had at 15 that I have now. It's the same little guitar. We were riffing outside. I actually had a thought. I was like, yeah, I'm just doing the exact same
Oh,
shit.
that has,
I've been doing.
it's got so much flavor. It's so
Yeah.
Mine's real.
But my point with that is it's like there was still something in you, like whatever was uniquely you. It didn't matter if it happened at a little later or when you found it because I do have to say this. Like, I mean, I went through and listened to that $100 Handshakes record, man, and the songwriting on it is phenomenal.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
It really is. It really
Thank
is.
you.
I am a songwriter nut.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I am a stickler for lyrics and melody. And I think that you do I really do. And this is not bullshit. I really think you do a really good job at it.
Well, I appreciate it.
And I kind of came in here with a preconceived notion of like, this guy's been doing this since he was like 8. You know what I mean?
No,
I really did.
I did my first freestyle over the ABCs when I was 2.
No, I mean, I've ripped off all those melodies, but the lyrics are mine. I can take.
Well, I mean, what's a Johnny Cash quote? Like, nothing's original anymore. Just do it
true.
and make it yours. You
Yeah.
know. And if someone sues you for it, you figure that out.
Yeah,
then,
no problem.
You know?
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm like super into lyrics. Like when I was, the stuff that I listened to, like when Karen and I were in our 20s and we were going to concerts, like all of my friends are dancing and looking at me going, why don't you dance, man? And I'm got my arms crossed and I'm looking at like all the amps on stage and all the
You're
equipment.
checking it all out. Yeah. And you're
I'm
still
like, oh man,
taking
that's
it
a
all
so and so
in.
and so and so, and I'm just.
Have you ever gotten called? Or had somebody go like, "Why are you being such a stickler right now?"
Oh yeah, not stickler.
Or something. Not like, I don't know.
yeah.
Why are you being such a
There's
stickler
other-
right now?
there's other
Why are you a
choices.
stick in the mud?
Yeah,
Why,
like, you're
why
no
did I
fun.
turn to a 1930s?
Yeah. Lively up yourself. That's
Are you
what
even
came-
enjoying yourself right now?
Oh, right.
Yes,
I'm
I'm
having a
staring
blast.
intently at this band.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm-
but the staring intently is fun. Yeah, I remember getting called out, like, and sometimes going and seeing local bands. Like, I'm not,
Yeah.
and you don't realize it, but like
Well-
when you're sitting here with your arms crossed, I'm enjoying the shit
Yeah,
out
oh
of
yeah,
myself.
I'm loving it. Yeah,
But
Well, we
I don't realize that I look like I'm
Yep.
like skull faced. Yeah.
Well, we don't really, as a society as a whole, right? We're super
Right.
spoiled these days.
Yes.
Right? Because we have live concerts all the time. But not only do we have live concerts all the time, we also have recordings that we can listen to. That
Oh, yeah,
are
and it's all in your-
replications
it's
of
in
that
your hand all
live
day.
or an actual studio recording.
Yeah.
You go back 100+ years and people run around. People were dancing at gigs and still dancing, but people were
But they
also.
couldn't. You look it up on YouTube.
But they
Yeah,
were
right.
listening more intently.
Yes.
Because they had to be able to recall that experience later.
I heard someone say this. He said, "This is a joke I tell to my kids." man, you better be happy that I'm paying the bills doing this now, because like 200 years ago, I would still be doing what I'm doing, but I have to, or well, probably more 400 years ago, but I'd be wearing a jester's hat. But this is what I do.
Right.
I travel from town to town, and this is what I do, and this is what I'm good at, And I do think that, not to jump too deeply into it, but you're right. There was a bubble for a while of this bubble on an economic level of recorded music, because it's societally such a normal thing. How could we ever know what any sort of traditional folk Indian music sounds like?
YouTube, baby.
But right now,
hey, Macarena.
we were talking about the Macarena earlier. We were waiting for the sun to go down for the lighting, and so we were talking about the Macarena is a little bit of an asshole of a song. It was like, yeah, she's going and screwing two other guys. Hey, Macarena.
So is Macarena is it like, hey, Macarena, I'm tired of this shit, or is it like, hey, Macarena, fuck this bitch? I don't know which one it is.
I think you should do that to me. Like,
you know what? I think if we were to ask those guys, they would go, hey, I made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
That's what those guys would go. They were like, we don't care what you English guys thought it was. We said this in Spanish, and y'all ate it up and did the dance. What was the Don McLean? There's a Don McLean quote where he was like, what's American Pie really about? And he's like, it's about the fact that I got to buy another boat.
Right.
But so anyway, back to from all the craziness. Like, let me ask you this: what was your earliest musical memory that you have? Like a musical memory that you have?
So, I mean, truthfully, my first musical memories was when I was like 6 years old, like singing in church, and like I remember just like people, like grandparents and people just come up to me and they weren't just going like, oh, that was good. They would like grab me by the face and go, that was awesome. Like you could, because I was just singing then. I remember like my choir director like pulling me to the side one time and like he was just playing like through octaves on the piano, and he was like, now sing this, now sing this, now sing this. And I remember thinking then that like, man, I think I can sing. You know what I mean? Like I think I can do this.
Right.
And like that was my first like, memory of that.
It's just so your first memory of that is getting a little bit of recognition.
Right.
Really, it's kind of going like,
genuine
maybe this is a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then didn't just always kind of had that in my back pocket, and then when I was in college and I started learning how to play, like I said, I knew 3 chords, and I was going out and playing in bars enough to where people would like, you would start singing and people would go.
Right. Turn the head a little bit. Like, wait a second, this guy's.
Yeah. And then I was like, all right. Then I did that for many years and thought I was good at it until I started playing with Tommy and Brian, and I was like, wait a minute, I have no idea what I'm doing. I wish I would have started working on this, like years previous. But
well, that kind of works out in a way, because like a lot of guys, I'll say this for myself, right? Like as someone who started younger, like you walk into something and you start doing it, and then you go. When you're young, you have no context, right? Mm-hmm. So you start going, oh, I'm hot shit. Right? And then hopefully you get humbled enough to where you're knocked down a peg and you realize that you got to put the work in. You might have the raw talent, you might have the voice, you might have the stuff, but you got to get knocked down a little bit just to realize, oh, this is a job, this is work, this is something. But it kind of worked out. It seems like in a good way, because your humility is, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little much. You keep every compliment I've been throwing your way, you've kind of been like, it's because I suck. But I do have to say, genuinely, you're like really good. You're really good, man.
I just think that there's, I've had the ego trip before, and I've had the whole, you have to work hard to keep that in check. And what really did it for me was when I was touring a lot and just going to like town after town after town, and there'd be somebody, opening for us in certain towns, and they would be badass, and you'd go, all right, like there's somebody like that everywhere. There's so much when you
so much good stuff.
There's
out
so
there.
much room for everybody to coexist, and like and I tell you, like truthfully, like my mode of thinking on that is like there's. I mean, I go down YouTube wormholes and just see stuff that just like I got to go home and practice. But the thing about it is there's not another Todd Johnson. there's not another Scott Moss, there's not another Jay. You know what I mean? That's what I think is cool about it. Like you can, you have your own. You know what I mean? Like you just do your own thing. You just be genuine. Like and I think that's where things start to happen.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think there is a level of a little bit of a plateau area.
Yeah.
You know, and for sure, you know, it's always a thing when you hear, you know, famous singers looking at each other and go like, "You're my favorite," and they go, "Are you serious? You're my favorite?"
Right.
You know, and I think it really does bode well. So like when you're talking about the touring stuff, like so like you're in college or you're out of college when that stuff starts. Like were you doing like solo gigs, just you, or were you like playing with a couple guys? Or
So I have been in a couple bands already. You know, like a high school band, like guys that I went to high school with, and we were awful, but we were good. I mean, we were packing out.
What was your first high school band name?
It was called. Well, I say high school band. I was in college when this happened. It was just people that I went to high school with. You know, we were friends.
What was the name
called
of the band?
5 Point Remedy.
5 Point Remedy.
And we have some recordings. I mean, we were so bad. I mean, but people love that shit. I mean, they ate it up. Like we were packing out in places, you know, and it was an event.
Cool.
You know, yeah. So you know,
it's like teens just having a good time.
Yeah, 20 somethings. You know, like mid 20s.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
And all of our parents. So that was cool. And then you know, I got then the next band I was in was this is, you know, you being from Charlotte, you're gonna appreciate this. I was living in Charlotte at the time, had a job. I answered an ad in Creative Loafing for like a corporate wedding band that they wanted to do like a Hootie cover band.
Yeah.
And it was all Hootie songs.
Nice.
So
what was the name of the group? Or was it just...
It's called like Hootie and the Cover Band or some shit.
That's awesome,
it was
man.
awful. Yeah. So what happened? So I went to I hooked up with these guys, and you know we started rehearsing in Charlotte at what's the name of
was it Eddie Z's place?
Yeah. So we were practicing there, and you know we were working. And like the whole time I'm thinking I'm not doing this Hootie shit for like I only did this to meet like I only did this to meet some like musicians in Charlotte, right? You know, some guys that really want to go out and play. So we did that thing for like a couple gigs, and I was like, you know, we got to change this up, you know. So we did, and we started doing original music, and we got hooked up with like the Wild Wing Cafe circuit.
Right, that is a circuit, man.
We played every fucking
Chicken and Money, baby, Chicken and Money tour.
So yeah, so the way it worked for us is we had a booking agent because we faked the Hootie thing for a while, and then like of course, you know, all the Wild Wings have a booking agent, and when you get in that, you know, when they click, you know, they're just booking you. They don't care. You know, they're just sending you everywhere. So we for like 4 or 5 years, they have like the time they had 40 of those things all over the East Coast, and we would start on one end and play to the other end.
So that was kind of like an earlier experience for you before really doing your own thing or joining like an original band.
Well, we were writing. We made an original record with that band.
Okay.
Because
what was the name of the group?
Moonshine Jenny. And
That's a good band name.
Yeah, it was.
That's
real,
a good band name.
It was real electric,
especially for like a good Southern North Carolina band.
Yeah, we thought we were the drive-by truckers. That's what we were trying to do.
Dude, everyone from North Carolina at that time.
Yeah, that's like it was 2 electrics, bass, and drums. I mean, it was just we were just you know trying to sound like the truckers. That's all we were doing.
Wait, I need to hit you up for some of them demos. I want to hear them. Because
they're
I
out there.
love that sort of shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, we made some good music together. I'm proud of some of this. It was like the recordings aren't great, but the music was good. You know, we had. I mean, and
you know, as we do it.
Yeah,
you guys redo it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually did re-record one of those tunes on the Handshakes record.
Which one?
That God, Guns, and Speed song. Was
that's a
God, Guns,
Jenny
and Speed is that really?
Yeah,
that's my favorite
I love
horn
that
track.
song, man.
That was a Moonshine Jenny song.
So like, I dug into that album.
Yeah.
I love that record.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
I really love the $100 Handshakes record that you guys made.
Yeah.
And so you know, and I was even texting. I was like. Just because I'm a producer-y brain at times, I was like, text him different things, and I was like,
he was all like, "Hey man, who produced this?"
I did ask him.
Like, was it a guitar player?
Yeah, because I had no idea.
I will say that. I will say this.
Next in the record, you're going to produce my next record. How about
I would love to produce your next record. Are you kidding me?
That's the whole reason we're here, Scott.
Scott, I don't know. Dude, we would have had you over to the house and made this a 2-second interview. But the entire reason I'm here right now is hunting for a client that I think is good.
Okay, cool.
That's the entire reason we're here right now.
Yeah,
how does it feel self-producing?
Oh,
this is
awful.
something I want to ask other self-producers because I do it a lot too. And I feel weird about it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just another aspect of like self-promotion that you hate to do. You know what I mean? Like you just feel. I mean, you know, you know how that is. You just feel.
Right. It's a little out of body, but you there's a part of you that feels like you have to do it until you realize like, oh, at some point you start realizing like, oh, I don't have to juggle.
Well, let's talk
everything.
about the guitar on that record.
Okay, yeah, no, let's do it. No, I'd love to.
So Derek McCoy played guitar on that record, and he is my like duo partner now. I used to, and like I don't play gigs without him now. You know, like we got to know each other slowly. You know, when we first met each other, we didn't even want to play together. You know, we just he was in my studio with another guy, and we were real just like, I don't know if I want to know this guy or not, you know. so we kind of have formed this relationship, like, and now we're homies, but it took a long time to get there. And now my sound is he's a part of my sound. Like, you know, I don't want to do it without him.
I get that.
Yeah, like. He is so much a part of like rhythmically what I do with my acoustic,
right.
and like that's the reason for like we named the duo the Baggage Brothers, because it's a thing on its own, you know, like it stands on its own.
Right.
But he would come to me during the recording of that record and laid all that guitar down and put so much cool shit on that record, and he would be like, "Man, are you sure? Like, there's a lot of guitar on this record."
Really?
Yeah, he would say.
So the guitar player. Wait a second.
Yeah.
The guitar player said there's a lot of guitar.
Yeah,
on
I
this
know,
record?
right? That's what I thought
he would
too.
say man, most singers don't want this much guitar on their record, and I was like, but it sounds good. I mean, tell me what you'd take out of it.
Well, the flip side of that is that Todd constantly says, "Oh man, I wish I wasn't producing my own stuff."
Yeah,
right.
There's an aspect of.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and like with that record, I wanted.
That is true.
I tell you where my head was at during that. Like I wanted to prove to a lot of people that I was legit, man. Like that I could record. Not only could I write those songs, but we could record those and make that shit, you know, at my house. You know, like
Right.
I had something to prove.
As an engineer, producer, anything like that, it's like getting your drums right is your basis.
Yep. And
Your
I was
drums
lucky,
sounded great. Your songs
so
are great.
Scotty Lewis played drums
Harmonies
on
were
that
great.
record.
The guitars are. Yeah, and I don't mean to keep cutting you off on it, but it's a great record that you put out.
I appreciate it.
It really is.
No.
It really is.
I tell you one thing about like you know, of course when I was making that record, I was excited about it, and I would take it in, I would mix it down and take it in my house and let Karen listen to it. My wife listen to it, and she was just like, yeah, it sounds good, and I'm like, no, man, like what do you really like give it to me, like what do you
Just
think?
give you like
She's
a visceral thing, right?
Sounds good, and I'd be like, I want your reaction. And like a year later, after we did that and put it out, like we would be in parties and stuff, and it would come on like somebody's Spotify playlist or whatever, and like she'd walk up to me and go, "That's a really good song."
See, and that right there.
She's had to hear it in context.
That right there really lets you know. Yeah. The one thing too with this, I heard a piece of advice from somebody that really helped me out when I was younger.
Yeah.
God, it's for weird name dropping, but anyway, it was at a studio that I was interning at. It's like,
Mitch Easter.
Yes, yes. This was at Mitch Easter's recording studio. Yes. When I was interning at Fidelatorium, Mitch was at one point. I had a band go up and ask him, and he said, at what point are you okay with an album that you put out of your own written material?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, oh God, maybe 20 years, maybe. But at that point, I'm just like going, fuck it. It's already out. It's been out, and it sounds like the era that it's in.
Right.
And he was, talking about the 80s at the time. I'm like, even Mitch Easter, created Jangle Pop, really, in my mind, in my opinion. I might be a little biased because I did intern in the studio, but...
have I mentioned that I interned in the studio?
No, God damn it. See, you knew what would get me. You knew what would get to me.
I'm just playing off this guy.
Oh, God,
Wait,
no.
wait a minute.
I'm
Wait a minute. Where did you intern?
Oh, no. See, I already feel so bad.
He hired you to produce the record,
Here's what's so funny is I was like poking at Scott because I was seeing these insecurities as far as things as like a singer-songwriter.
I can't think of a
dude, I'm the most
and I
insecure.
understand them.
Oh, yeah.
And then as soon as you guys find mine, I'm like, yeah.
You didn't tell me
I'm trying to figure out.
Name drop.
I mean, who was a famous Jangle Pop band that he? Oh, REM. That's who he might have worked with.
Remember those guys?
Those guys.
Yeah.
Well, and as well as Don Dixon also did that record as well as, and then he had Let's Active. Anyway, so and the DBs were fucking awesome. Anyway, so I'm not saying I'm a fan or anything, but but it was cool to hear like a dude who's where you could say legitimately done it,
right?
Legitimately said, I don't know about this record. They put it out. It sold millions. And then he goes, yeah, I still wish we would have done things a little different on that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's always
and
we're always our own worst critic, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
I I think songwriters.
Well, here's
in a way.
Yeah, of course.
I don't like anything I've ever played.
My only
Really?
if I can listen to it again after it's recorded, then I feel like that record you and I made. That's the only record that I can like stand and listen to. I mean, everything
And
else,
this is the $100 handshake.
and everything else is just like, oh no, like
Right.
I mean, even like the other stuff that I made with the touring band.
Just like real quick, because like from the tunes that I've heard, especially from that record, you write in a very visceral, close to the not close to the chest, but very visceral, obvious way that is really hard to do as a songwriter. Mm-hmm. It is. I really enjoy your songwriting, man. I'd love to have you play a song for us if you'd want to.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there? Let me ask you this before you play one. Is there, when you start, is it different every time? Is it like, do you feel like you're the vessel and the song comes through it, or do you just kind of like always write lyrics, or?
My process usually starts with a melody. If you always a chord progression melody first, and then like one line in the song, and then I just try to build around it. Whether or not it's the first line.
Do you feel like you build around like it might not be the first song. It might not be the first line.
Right.
It might be like, this is the line that is halfway in the chorus,
right,
or somewhere like that, or is it always like you just start top to bottom?
Oh no, it's definitely it might whatever line that is might go anywhere in the song. It's just the idea of the whole thing.
So I'll throw you one.
Yeah.
Because it's the first song, and I know that it's from a way back, but like I've had a relationship with you through music for many years, right? Mm-hmm. A song that stuck out to me originally, and something that I think you might be even be able to talk about with this process: Nashville Flood.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nashville
Like
Flood.
how did Nashville Flood come about?
So I'm super proud of that song because I dig like Todd Snyder's really good at this, like taking a song that's one thing topically and then it's really about something else underneath the surface. Nashville Flood was really came about, and I tell this story sometime on stage. I saw like when that flood happened in Nashville, and I was watching the news, and there was all these warehouses and like music equipment like ruined, and it was heartbreaking, right? So on the surface there's that, and then a year later I'm riding home from a gig late one night, and I'm like flipping through the stations, and I love catching like evangelist on like radio. Like I just love to sit there and either you know what I mean, either I
Yeah.
do,
Oh yeah.
I just so
I've read about it.
that
Yeah,
keeps
I know
me
what you
awake
mean.
sometimes, having that argument in my head, right?
It kind of pisses you off in a way.
A little bit.
Right.
So
right.
so that's going on, and this guy was making the point. It was after Katrina had happened, and he was saying his point was that happened because of all the bad things that were going on, and
some bullshit things like that.
And I thought to myself, I was like, I started thinking about other stuff, and I was like, well, if that's the case, then that Nashville flood's probably because of all that shitty country music they've been making up there. So that's where that song came from, and like. I started writing that song. We got kicked out of a hotel one night in Nashville. We were in Nashville and got kicked out of a hotel at 4 a.m., which I don't advise, because when you get kicked out of a hotel at 4 a.m., there's not a whole lot of other hotels
All
that
right,
let you come.
can we know why you got kicked out?
Nope.
Or no, you're not going to let us know? All right, that's fine. That's understandable.
No, sir.
No, sir.
It was a noise complaint.
It was a noise complaint, yeah.
Something. Okay. All right. Some things need to stay secret. That's all right.
And I'll go as far as Nashville Flood. It's such a simple song. Like, it's just two chords, but it's taken on this whole... It's got its own thing now, and it's got all this rhythmic stuff going on. And like, we were playing that song for years, and there's a line in the song that says, "The money ain't for nothing, the chicks ain't free." So we were able to work in money for nothing, like
money for nothing, right.
So there's halfway through the song, we actually do the
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
a verse of Money for Nothing, and Derek actually plays the lick from Money for Nothing. So when you come around, this is crazy because we played that just this past weekend, Derek and I, and there's people in the crowd that have never heard that song, and because we did Money for Nothing, and when it got to that lyric of "the money ain't for nothing,"
right.
I was looking. There was 6 people in the crowd.
You could
that said,
see
"The
them
chicks
go.
ain't free." Like,
right. They know it.
picked
They
up
know
on
it. Right.
You know what I mean? They're like, that's. So I'm super proud that song is on the surface is about. It says Nashville Flood, but it's really about corporate country, and then like one rung below that, like organized religion.
Right.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Right. I love that, man. There's something about taking something that's understandable. I think it's a tool for a songwriter.
Yeah.
The same way as like taking certain tools
Like
of
you
like
and
a
I
comedian.
we sat outside. I played you an original song out there that has the Jeffersons theme song in the middle.
Yeah, and then you threw Jefferson's in there, and then I started singing
it just
harmony
brings
with it.
people
It brings people in.
It brings people in. Yeah, and when you're playing, like when you're doing what I do, and you're playing in breweries and stuff where people don't know who you are, and you're just playing like you mix original songs in with other songs, like that kind of stuff. Like means something to people.
cultivates.
Like,
The bands have been doing that forever, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
And using the familiarity to
it's a gimmick that I
bring
totally
the
like,
listener
totally.
in.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to any Parliament Funkadelic,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I mean, Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep, right? It starts off with Flashlight.
Right.
You know, there's all kinds of references to nursery rhymes and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I mean, like I've got a song called "Falling Hard for You," where sometimes because it's in the same key as "Sitting on the Dock of the Bay," I just go into "Sitting on the Dock of the Bay,"
Yeah.
and I won't tell the band. And usually, fortunately, and it's a different tempo, it's a little more upbeat.
Yeah.
But fortunately, the band will go like, "Shit, we don't know what to do, but we'll follow."
You should get Jason Atkins in your band. He'll know exactly what to do.
Dude, Jason Atkins is on just like your record. He's the only keyboard. I think he's the only keyboard player on the Revolvers record.
All right.
Because he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's good. But he's one of those guys too who's so good at it that I'm gonna be like, do something funky, and he goes, boo, ba, 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 ba. I'm like, yeah, do a Stevie Wonder.
Do that
thing.
again.
He brought an accordion to my house one time to record something. Well, actually, this is a crazy story.
Yeah. What is it?
So, Josh Daniel is doing big stuff now. He's
Absolutely.
he's like
Guy's massive right now.
God,
It's fantastic.
he works so hard and like he's such a cool guy.
Absolutely.
He came. I was doing a John Prine. I wanted to record John Prine songs with like each song had like a different friend of mine. Coming in, and I still got this stuff archived, and I'm gonna put it out. I just hadn't had the time. I put a couple of them out, but like actually Heath sang on one of them. You've heard that stuff.
I have, yeah.
So Josh and Jason came to my house the same day to do like a couple tunes.
Nice.
And like Jason brought the accordion and brought his keyboards, and Josh Daniel brought a set of drums. And played drums on a song, and then at the end of the day,
he's a good drummer. So I didn't realize that until I seen him like
and at the end of
Smokey Joe's thing. Yeah, he's good.
Great drummer. And at the end of the day, he left the drums at my house. He was like, I just don't have anywhere to put these. He was like, you just keep them. And I was like,
Wait,
cool.
did you know that was gonna happen?
Still got them. Like now when I
just
play,
showed up
like
and
when
just
I play,
left 'em?
like when we
That's
play
awesome.
handshakes gigs, that's Tommy's drum set. And every time I see Josh, I go, hey man, like I still got your drums, and he goes, what drums? That's how cool.
I'm going to kick this one further. Josh Daniel got those drums from Matt Curl,
which is his roommate.
I played with in a bunch of
We
I first saw those drums. I was like, man, those drums look familiar. I swear I know somebody has
No
a
shit.
set just like those.
No shit.
Yeah.
So they're still in rotation.
Well, I need a new drum kit actually for my house studio.
Oh, you can't have
so-
mine. You can't have mine.
Yeah, we're gonna work it out, man. Dude, that's funny. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I feel like you're a little bit like me as far as the compliment thing. It's a little tough, but I hope you take this one to stride. You're a fantastic songwriter. You're a fantastic singer.
I appreciate it, man.
And anything that you do, I'd love to hear it. And anytime you
you're
want to work on
producing
something,
the next record. You're there.
Todd
man.
Johnson.
sign
He's
me up,
producing
man.
the next record.
Sign me up, man.
Hey, man, I don't know if you know this. I hear that he interned somewhere pretty cool.
Mitch
Jesus
Easter.
Christ. All right, you
think
know
we
what?
can get
Let's
Mitch Easter to
shut
go?
up for a little. Hey, you know what? Can you play us a song? How about this? Would you want to play us a song?
Yep, I'll be glad to.
That'd be fantastic. Let's
That'd
do
be
it.
awesome.
Let's figure all that out.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
So this is a song called "This Town." I wrote this tune a couple bands ago. It's about since we're here in Shelby, we'll play that song. It's about my hometown, and turns out it's about a lot of other people's hometowns too. This town turns off a joke, and everybody stays barely broke. That's how it goes round here. Bypassing a county fair and a bunch of roads that don't go anywhere. That's how it goes round here. But I didn't come out here for nothing, 'cause you ain't taking this too good. 'cause we can count it all that's left behind. And if we don't, we should. Alright. I guess it's all been long enough. This time around we won't talk too much. That's how it goes round here. 'Cause we can talk about what to change before we talk about anything. Right? That's how it goes round here. But I didn't come out here for nothing. 'Cause you ain't taking this too good. 'Cause we can count it all that's left behind. And if we don't, we shouldn't. It's alright. This town turns off a joke, and everybody stays barely broke down. That's how it goes round here. Bypassing the county fair, and a bunch of roads that don't go anywhere. That's how it goes round here. But I didn't come out here for nothing. You ain't taking this too good. 'Cause we can count it all that's left behind. And if we don't, maybe we should. Maybe we should. Oh, some song right now.
That was beautiful.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Seriously, thank you for being on the show tonight, man.
Appreciate you letting me do it.
Thank you for letting us sit up here. Thank you for letting us do all the stuff.
Yep. So just pay your bar tab and we'll be good.
I think we have to get out of here. I don't know if we can do that. Seriously, brother. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
This
Hey,
was
and
this
you're
was
producing
fantastic.
the next record now.
Hey, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. All right, man. Let's do this again sometime very soon.
I'm into it.
All right. Thank you, man.
Thanks, brother.
Take care.